The human role in companies has been transformed in recent years, and this can be seen even in the way of calling the staff of an organization, since at the beginning they were called like simple employees. Then we went on to call them human resources, and today we talk about the person, the motivation, and the creativity because employees are considered a key factor in companies. Motivation is fundamental element for the success of a company since it depends to a great extent on achievement the objectives that the company is proposing. Currently, there are some managers who still do not realize the importance of motivation and the benefits that can be obtained with the implementation of this element. Due to the importance that motivation has taken in companies that have carried out various studies to determine which are the most effective motivators that should be used with employees. In the beginning, many people might consider that the main motivator would be the money, which is totally wrong, since most jobs are not, I'm sorry, which is totally wrong, which most jobs are not abandoned for salary reasons, but rather that for reasons or situations that create an unpleasant work environment for employees. Here's a list of the main work motivators: good working environment, opportunity for professional development, they can assume responsibilities, opportunity to express their point of view, good relationship with supervisors, knowledge of the functions of the position the employee occupies, and the good communication. As we can see, most of the motivators have an emotional influence on employees. Everything is related to creating a flexible work environment in which the employee feels comfortable and can develop their capacity to the maximum. We have a question here is, does work motivation help productivity? The personal motivation of each person is directly proportional to the productivity they will have in the company. Therefore, we can say that a highly motivated person will have optimal results in the performance, achieving the objectives in a timely manner. On the contrary, a person with low motivation will have an unsatisfactory performance, not achieving or meeting goals expectations. The importance of motivation in organization. Companies need people to function like normal, but if a company wants if but if what the company wants is to function excellently, these people need to be motivated. For this reason, it's that depending on the motivation of the employee is where the company obtains the success and the maximum economic benefits. In today's organizations, it's essential to provide a good work environment as well as a commitment to employee performance. One of the ways to ensure that a company or organization can function properly is to motivate staff because they are the one who collaborate on a daily basis with the achievement of objectives set within the organization. If the institution have a motivational plan, they will achieve a pleasant work environment. Employees will assume greater commitment, increase the productivity, and promote that innovation to give proposals or suggestions for the company or organizations with the sense of belonging. Motivation plays a fundamental role in achieving goals and objectives in organizations. To create and maintain a high level of motivation, it's important to ensure that the objectives and values of each employee correspond to the mission and vision of the organization. Motivation strategies can help in improving employee performance, reducing the chance of low employer morale, associating teamwork, and including a positive attitude in difficult times with a high level of motivation. Employees tend to work harder and can overcome common job challenges with ease, helping the organization to achieve goals and improve overall operations. A motivated worker is a worker who will comply with the organization policies, responsibilities, and objectives in a timely manner. The work environment, the work clean, I'm sorry, the work climate. It's the environment that surrounds a person while carrying out their work, so that a worker in authentic context will have a degree of satisfaction, which will be reflected in the commitment and performance evaluation. From what, on the contrary, an unsatisfied person is an uncommitted person with a lack of interest in their task and in the organization. Employees and performers are the two most important factors in the organization. If the company requires workers at all levels to lend their enthusiasm and personal dedication, motivation, it has to manage to integrate business objectives with the individual objectives of each worker. The worker tries to satisfy the needs of all kinds and their needs in the company, not just to receive a payment. If a person is not interested in their task, they will automatically reject it, act discouraged, and do not give it all the attention it deserves. On the contrary, those employees identified with their task will undertake their function with more enthusiasm and energy. The concept of work motivation has usually been treated from partial approaches, which only collect a specific contribution from it, like equality, the satisfaction of needs, etc. In this way, many of the tools built for the measuring of work motivation only collect a specific aspects of it. Also, motivation has often been studied as a talent variable. The antecedents of and consequences of motivation, like the characteristic of the position, motivating potential, performance, satisfaction, they were studied assuming that the motivation they were studied assuming that the motivation was in some way implicit, but without addressing it directly. An integrated model of motivation at work it's based on one, the different types of needs that may be operating in people that lead them to have a motivated behavior. Two, the perception of instrumentally or perception of the connection between a job well done and the satisfaction of needs. And three, the presence and intervention of a series of cognitive processes such as the perception of self-efficacy and the perception of fairness. The perceived meaning of the work belong I mean the perceived meaning of the work being done, awareness of the results obtained and on the responsibility that is had on them. Motivation against satisfaction. Studying the business reality, it seems that motivating means satisfying the employee, pleasing him so that the employee works more, and as a consequence of not being willing or finding it impossible to satisfy, managers underestimate motivating. Often those responsible for human resources in charge of establishing motivation and incentive programs are unaware of the meaning of work motivation and confuse the terms of satisfaction and motivation. While the satisfaction can be considered the fulfillment of a desire of or objective, motivation, at the contrary, refers to what drives the individual to try to fulfill that same desire or objective. For this reason, a worker might be very satisfied with his job but not motivated by it. The engine of movement in the human being is needed. If we accept this, we can affirm that in order to know how to motivate workers, the only thing that must be done is to know their needs. It's important to note that although the needs in motivation continue, one of the main pieces of evidence to highlight that work motivation must be a compromise between two parties, the worker and the organization. Moreover, it would be interesting if it were a long term commitment, since it's the retention of our human capital that is intended as the basis of possible sustainable competitive advantage. In addition, today one of the main problems in organization is the high rate of staff turnover, which causes astronomical losses for the company, not only economic but also intellectual. Likewise, it should be borne in mind that the workforce has changed and motivation is now not understood as an individual characteristic. It's not, although it depends a lot of individual traits. For this reason, I'm sorry. For this reason, it's not enough to select the most motivated, but the company must be used thoroughly to be able to adapt motivational strategies to individuals based on their needs and aspirations. We can say that the role of the organization in the dynamics of the motivational process of the individual must be acquired more relevant, since it must both stimulate the interest of the individual for their work and for the organization, and facilitate the way to satisfy their concerns and needs. But it must be an active role, and the worker must be aware of it, and understand it. Insensitive and insensitive systems are of no use when employees are not clear or how they are applied. The basis of good work motivation would be excellent internal communication. It should be said that the effectiveness of the same motivational strategy will be determined by the conditioning variables of individuals, such as companies. Like, X techniques do not work for everyone. Therefore, motivation must be taking primarily role in the agenda of humans resources managers. Thank you.